Welcome back, y'all, to Searching for Faith. If you're new here, I'm Tracy. I'm so glad that you found my channel. And today we are going to be doing a November reset in my Bible study journal. So let's get started. Okay, y'all, so I'm waiting for one more printable to finish printing on my printer. But before we switch to starting in our new Bible study, we are going to finish setting up our November praying through scripture section. So I'm using the Amy Center printables for I purchased the whole praying through scripture for the whole year bundle. I can't remember how much it cost, but I will let you know what it was right here, and also link below, of course, to the printables. I also have been one at a time buying, or some of her printables you buy two at once. I've also been buying her Bible study overviews, but the whole bundle is really expensive, so I've just been buying one at a time as I need them. But yeah, so we finished out October. I already put my little tab for November, and I was going to show you guys how I make my tabs, if I can find an example. So I literally just use I have all these old sticker sets, just leftover stickers. So I'll just use these little I think you call them, if you're thinking about a standard vertical planner, I think they're quarter boxes maybe. So I'll use one of these quarter or half boxes, and I'll just write the name of the book that we're about to study, which we're gonna start a new tab for our new study as well. So I'll show you how I make them with that. And then I just fold it over, and it's a nice little tab. So we finished out October, so we're going to be pasting in our month of November printable, and these are just they come just standard, 8.5 by 11 size. So I just print them to a page, super easy. And then it fits into my journal, my Bible study journal, really well. I think my Bible study journal is a A5 size, but it is just about half of an 8.5 by 11 size. Here's the Ecclesiastes one. Yes, that's my notebook is literally half of an 8.5 by 11 size piece of paper. So this is, I also have the How to Faith a Life printables as well for all of the books of the Bible. I will say, to purchase every single overview from How to Faith a Life is cheaper than the Amy Center to buy the whole bundle. But so I have both the How to Faith a Life one and the Amy Center one that just finished printing. So this is just to show you how I print literally two to a page, and then I just cut it out, and then it's the right size to paste into my Bible study journal. But yeah, so we're gonna start by pasting in our November. If you've been following me for a while, you know that we switched over from a full size prayer journal to this smaller compact version, and it's really more of just I do both my Bible study and my prayer journaling all in the same notebook. I think when we do our I have enough pages left in here to see us through to the end of December, and then we're going to do a setup for our new prayer journal for starting in January of 2025. So definitely stay tuned for that, coming soon. But I think I'm going to give myself space for just like free writing of prayer journaling, not just this version. So the way we do it right now is I will do, it depends on the day or if I get behind, but I will do 1 to 5, as many as 5, where I'll like look up the scripture, I'll mark it in my prayer Bible, and then I will look at the scripture, and then I'll write it like here. I'll write it in my journal, like here I did 10:29, 10:30, and then I'll write my like reflection prayer to God based on those verses that I read, and then I will mark them off, of course, here on the tracker for that month. So that's kind of like how we're doing our prayer journaling right now. But I think when I do my new setup for the new year, I want to give myself like a section for just generic journaling, just like not generic journaling, but just like where I don't have like a set expectation of what I'm writing about, that I'm just praying, just free praying to God. So I am going to give myself like a new section for that in the new year. But like I said, I did want to finish setting up November. I can't remember what color we assigned to November. So November is gratitude, which makes perfect sense. So it looks like we're going to be doing this really dark, like marigold color. I need to find that color tab. I have found that as far as these tabs that I've been using goes, it has been more helpful to use a color that you have at least 2 of them or 2 similar colors of that same color so that you can repeat it. So that's the only issue with using this marigold color, is I only have 1 of that color. But I think I'm gonna buy more of these anyway, so it may be okay. But I have gotten to the point where I run out and then I have to use like a similar color to continue for that month, but I don't see any similar colors to this. Like this is like one of a kind in here. So I think I'll need to buy more of these. But I do think I want to use this color. I do like that color. I don't have like a pure yellow that I can use. So I think I'm just going to buy more of these. They didn't cost very much. And I'll continue using them. But we are going to go with this like deep, like kind of, it's almost a true orange. Sometimes it looks different on here than it does in a book. So no, that looks pretty orange, yeah. But we are gonna go with this color for November. And we'll go ahead and decorate some pages for November as well. I got some new sticker kits from this sticker company on Etsy called Boulder Bond. So I'm gonna use these to set up my pages for November.
You're teaching me with my
Life has been pretty chaotic lately because we are moving literally 2 days after Christmas. I'm definitely feeling some overwhelm with that. So I am definitely wanting a reset, kind of like across the board. Just feeling all the things, just like I said, feeling a lot of overwhelm, a lot of chaos lately, and I'm looking forward to a new month. I mean, I know people make New Year's resolutions all the time, but I am all about like when you feel like you need to reset, to go ahead and just make a decision and just do it. Don't hold off, you know? Like, when you make a decision, just start, you know? So, I know I'm making like kind of like a plan to, start working out more, and just being more like present. I've been really bad about like, letting myself sleep late and then like either skipping breakfast or getting like Starbucks or something. So I really want to, like, you know, not necessarily get up earlier. Although last year I was getting up at like 5:30 in the morning. But just, you know, being more, like less frazzled, less, and I know I've been very, very anxious lately. And even my, I was talking to my therapist recently, and she suggested taking some things off my plate. So I decided to step away from the conference board that I've been on the last couple of years and be more just a volunteer and not like on the conference committee as a whole. And I also decided to pause on our Patreon tiers. And so right now, all of Patreon is just free. So we're doing our monthly wallpapers still, but they're gonna be just free for all, like, so you don't have to pay. I have some like maybe ideas for new, you know, paid tiers on Patreon. I think I'm just gonna like wait it out, and see if we get more followers like on Patreon, like more free followers on Patreon, then we may, you know, consider doing more with it in the future. But for now, we're just going to stick to the free, and just see kind of, you know, where that takes us.
This is all that I've been feeling. Take this cup and hold it, Lord. Not my will, but instead let it be yours. From the inside out, it awaits.
Okay, so that's all we're gonna do for setting up for our November praying through scripture. We did a poll on YouTube on the community page, asking which book of the Bible we should do next since we finished Ruth, and the majority was to do the book of Ecclesiastes. So we are going to do Ecclesiastes. This is going to be another Daily Grace Co study. So we are going to be setting up Ecclesiastes and then doing a little like context, you know, write out information about the book of Ecclesiastes. So this is going to be let's see. This is all the info that's always at the beginning of any Daily Grace Co study. Okay, so it is only 3 weeks. There is an intro. How much are, this is a thick, much thicker than Ruth. Let's see. Week 1, day 1. Wow, read all of Ecclesiastes 1 through 12. And then usually like there's like an overview of the first page. And then yeah, read 1 through 11. 1 through 12. All right, and then when we get to week 2, day 1, we're reading all of Ecclesiastes 4. And then week 2, day 2, Ecclesiastes 5. So yeah, it looks like we're like the very beginning. It just wants you to read through all of Ecclesiastes. Let's see. And then 8. Let's see. Week 3, day 6. Yeah. So yeah, so it looks like it, to begin with, you are, let's flip to Ecclesiastes in here. It's between Proverbs and Song of Solomon. And it is, like, as far as books go, a relatively short book. It is only 12 chapters. So it looks like to start, it wants us to read like the whole thing. And then it'll be breaking it up into smaller pieces as we go through. And if y'all haven't seen when this is posted, we only have a few hours left, but I am doing a giveaway. As you know, I don't write in these books. I write everything about my reflections and answers to the questions and things in my Bible study journal. So when I finish the book, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. And so because we finished Ruth, I am doing a giveaway for this Bible study. You can write in it yourself and use it in that way, or you can do what I did and write it in a journal and then pass it along or donate it when you're finished. So just sharing the knowledge, and you know, I'm blessed in that I can purchase Bible study materials for myself. So I would like to bless somebody else by giving this to you. It is only open to U.S. domestic, and the giveaway, the entries for the giveaway ends tonight at midnight. So once it's closed, I will, of course, like, post something online. But yeah, so hopefully I can bless somebody with this wonderful study on the book of Ruth. It definitely, if you haven't checked it out, go see my like key takeaways video on all the wonderful things that I learned from the book of Ruth. It was like, if you haven't studied Ruth, it's only 4 chapters, but it packs a big punch, and it just blessed me in so many ways. And there's just so much of the gospel in Ruth. It is just like one of the most important books of the Bible, in my opinion. So if you haven't read Ruth, definitely consider reading it. It was a huge blessing to me, so I hope that it can bless somebody else as well. And as you're studying, if you haven't, go back and check out my, we have 3 parts, I think, of us doing like a deeper dive of the study together in my, let me try to find it, where we studied the book of Ruth together, and then reviewed like the notes and things that we learned, and then I did like the key takeaways at the end. But I have a whole playlist on the book of Ruth, so I will link that below, so go check that out if you haven't yet. And if you haven't read the book of Ruth and you'd like to study it on your own and then watch my videos as well, then definitely check all of that out. Like I said, I'll link it below. So we're going to move on to the book of Ecclesiastes. So what we're going to do is we are going to set up, I also have my space here for the book of Romans. And I think I'll need a few more pages for Romans. So I'm going to give myself 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not really sure. Maybe, yeah, we'll give ourselves to the end of this yellow, and then we will start Ecclesiastes here. So I'm going to go ahead and put both the How to Faith a Life one on one side and the Amy Center one on the other side. I'm trying to think. Hold on. I want to make sure I have enough for Romans. I was just worried about like covering this up, but that's okay. I like pre-decorated the pages. But yeah, so we're going to put this one over here, and then we're going to grab the Amy Center one to put on the other side. So as you can see, I just print 2 to a page, and that is plenty. And think I said this already, but I will link Amy Center below as well. This video is not sponsored. I just like both Amy Center and Faith Lomax resources. Okay, and then we're gonna pick one of these. Let's see. I'm gonna do this light blue one. And I kind of write it, like not centered. So I find the center usually, and then I write it just below. And pay attention to how many letters. See, I don't have room. You know what? I think I'm gonna use this longer one here. I kind of wasted that one, but it's okay. All right. E C C L E S I A S T E S. That is a long name of the Bible. All right, and I'll show you why I do it slightly off-centered. All right, so Romans is here. So let's put Ecclesiastes. So I kind of put it like that. And then when we fold it over, we're gonna fold it kind of in the middle, just above where we wrote it. And then fold it on itself like that. And there is our tab for Ecclesiastes. Like I said, I had to use this longer one because that was a long name, wasn't it? Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna try to see if I had any more of those little flowers or things to put like in this little empty space right here, but that's okay. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to look at all of our intros and just look at the context and the background information of Ecclesiastes. So I have all of my Bibles. We have our overviews here. Okay, so first, let's look at our printables. So on Health and Faith of Life, it says it is wisdom literature. This is the word used to describe how I don't even know how to pronounce it, Qohelet. It's like Qohelet, views all of life meaningless like vapor. The most important thing to understand about Ecclesiastes is that the bulk of it is a compilation of a teacher's worldly wisdom called the Qohelet. It ends with a commentary that gives it all context in light of God. So if you're reading it and it does not make sense why it keeps saying everything is meaningless, that is because you need to read it in light of 12:13. All right, so let's look at verse 12:13. All right. So the end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. . 'All 'All right, so let's look at verse 12:13. All right. So the end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. 'All right, so So I'm gonna write oops, that's not the right one. I think I must have put the wrong one back in here. Let's see. All right. So I'm gonna write this out. The end of the matter. All has been heard. Fear, and put that in all caps. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. And this is Ecclesiastes 12:13. So all of it should be read thinking of that. The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Okay, moving on. There are times where the Colette, I don't know if I'm saying that right, I might try to look it up later, in his worldly wisdom outright contradicts Proverbs. This is on purpose and to show the futility in the world's wisdom. For example, and then it gives examples here. So let's read those. So C118. See. For in much wisdom is much vexation, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. Let's see, 2:16. For of the wise as of the fool there is no enduring remembrance, seeing that in the days to come all will have been long forgotten. How the wise dies just like the fool. 6:8. For what advantage has the wise man over the fool? And what does the poor man have who knows how to conduct himself before the living? And then 7:15. In my vain life I have seen everything there is, a righteous man who perishes in his righteousness. And there is a wicked man who prolongs his life in his evil doing. Basically saying all the things that we have like thought up ourselves at one point or another. I was just talking about when we were going through the Ruth study, how jaded we can become. So it's almost like, I said that I am Naomi. I was that jaded, lost, angry person that found my way back to Jesus and was working my way back towards God and discovering who God is and God's love for me. So it's almost like Ecclesiastes is where I was at when I was in that famine period, when I was like Naomi in a foreign land and emptied. These are the thoughts that you feel when you are jaded by the world and by life, which I know I can't say everybody has felt that way, but I feel like everybody has to have felt that way at some point. Some of us have had longer periods of feeling that way than others. And some of us, maybe it may just be like you have little blips of moments of frustration with the world. And so maybe like smaller bits for some people and longer for others. But I feel like everybody feels and thinks these things at some point in their life. Bible study tip. Wisdom literature isn't a type of literature in the Bible that you can flip open to any verse and apply it to your life. You have to read it in context and understand its musings on life and living wisely. It's not information, it's not normative for everything always. Essentially, the narrator is saying everything is meaningless, like the Colette said, if you don't love and follow God. So there is no point without God. All right, key verse, Ecclesiastes 12:13, which we just wrote. Outline 1:1 is the introduction, 1:2 through 12:8 is the Colette's wisdom, and 12:9 through 14 is the narrator gives final verdict. Okay, let's look at Amy Center's Ecclesiastes. Is that what she's writing here? Okay, so she's saying this part right here. Ecclesiastes means the preacher or the teacher. Everything meaningless. I think I didn't cut off that, right? So I'm just going to reprint this and paste it back in. Let me see if I can pull this up without making like a huge mess. No, I'm just going to paste it over top, okay? Because I don't want to tear the page. Okay, but I will read what it says on the computer for you guys. So what it does say is everything meaningless? So there's a bunch of stuff cut off here, but it says wisdom and pleasure won't last. Success is pointless. Wicked may thrive while good suffer. God will judge all one day. God is beyond our comprehension. Without God, life is meaningless. So fear God and keep his commandments, 12:13. Over here it says cyclical view of nature and life. I don't know what cyclical means, so let's see. I don't know if that word is in my Bible dictionary or if I need to like Google it. Let's see. Let's see if cyclical is in here. I thought maybe she meant cynical at first, because it is also cynical. But cyclical must be a word. Cyclic is revolving or recurring in cycles, characterized by recurrence in cycles, of or relating to or constituting a cycle or cycles. So yeah, so I think it just means that like they're talking in circles, like you live, you're born, you live, you die, it starts over again. Cut this one out again and repaste. Written by Solomon, ? They're not sure. Or Solomon was ruler of Israel, 971 to 931 BC. What is meaningless? Friendliness, wisdom, advancement, riches, pleasures, oppression, toil, folly. Meaning is not found in earthly pursuits, but in pursuing God. As you do not know the path of the wind or how the body is formed in a mother's womb, so you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things. Okay, so I'm going to read the intros in all of my Bibles and see if there's any other important information that I would like to know about Ecclesiastes. So, let's find our wisdom literature / poetic. All right, Ecclesiastes contains reflections of an old man, the preacher, as he considered the question of meaning in life. He looked back and saw the futility and vanity of chasing after even the good things this life can offer, including wisdom, work, pleasure, and wealth. Even if such things are satisfying for a time, death is certain to end this satisfaction. In fact, God's judgment on Adam for his sin in Genesis 3:17-19 echoes throughout the book, especially 12:7. Yet the person who lives in the fear of the Lord can enjoy God's good gifts. Young people especially should remember their Creator while they still have their whole lives before them. Traditionally, interpreters of Ecclesiastes have identified the preacher, who is called the son of David, king in Jerusalem, as Solomon. So yeah, so it's just a person reflecting on life. And feeling jaded and angry and all of the things, and seeing everything that happens as just meaningless. So, and like I said, I feel like we've all been there. All right, let's see what my Oxford Annotated Bible has to say about Ecclesiastes. All right, let's see.
I need a revival, something more than this shallow survival. God, I need you. God, I need you. Father, bring me redemption. Renew my heart with resurrection. God, I need you. God, I need you now. I need you Come alive. Come alive in me. Come alive.
All work together to create a vision of the remoteness, the inscrutability, and ultimately the indifference of the world to the individual. In a vision of bleak grandeur, the author faces this indifference, acknowledges it, and admits an inability to transcend it, but nevertheless derives from it a hard-won wisdom. This is how the world is. This is how the world is. Writer wisdom tradition, yet he approached the issues through those. Okay, all right, let's look at my apologetic study Bible and see if there's anything else we can add to our introduction to Ecclesiastes. Okay, once again, cynical. That's what I was saying. I was like, it's definitely written in a cynical way. So regarding the second question, which here it says, is it orthodox or not? Many readers are troubled by the book's apparently cynical attitude. Everything is futile. By its apparent denial of afterlife, by its recommendations to eat, drink, and enjoy life, and by its seemingly indifferent attitude about morality. The second question will be addressed in the notes on Ecclesiastes. The main argument against Solomonic authorship of Ecclesiastes is that the book contains a few words that do not appear in any other text until several hundred years after the time of Solomon. This is not insignificant, but arguments based on the linguistic evidence are notoriously difficult to make. Since we have a limited number of texts from the ancient Near East, it is hard to say when a given word may have entered the common speech. We do have evidence that the author of Ecclesiastes was familiar with certain classic texts from Mesopotamia and Egypt that were written before the time of Solomon. But the book shows no familiarity with later literature, such as the classic Greek text from the 5th century BC and following. This lends weight to Solomon's being author of Ecclesiastes and creates problems for the position that Ecclesiastes was written before 400 to 100 BC. So basically, we're not sure who wrote it, but it doesn't really give us anything additional than what we already have. So the main things that we need to be aware of when we are starting Ecclesiastes is that we need to be aware that this teacher or preacher is looking back on life as in a very cynical, jaded, life is meaningless way. So some of the themes that they're stating throughout the book of Ecclesiastes is that the individual is only a small part of the whole. As an individual in the world, we are powerless. We can do nothing to change our fate. Death is unavoidable, and the repetitious nature of life, that it's just you're born, you live, you die, and it just is a constant, like, and that we're constantly struggling with things and so on and so forth. And their acceptance of just like, okay, this is just how the world is. There's nothing I can do to change it, kind of attitude. And I think that a lot of people get to that point like I said earlier, in life where you feel overwhelmed, you feel jaded, you feel lost and out of, you have no control of your life and over the difficulties and the bad things that are happening, and you look, and if you do believe in God, you look to him maybe in an angry, like, why are you letting this happen to me kind of way. And maybe some of you, it took you from God, like it did me for a period of time, because you're like, why would God let this happen to me? There must not be a God, or if there is a God, he doesn't care about me, that kind of thing. So I think we have all had those thoughts and had those feelings. I have a feeling that a lot of Ecclesiastes is going to be like, yeah, I've been there. I felt that. I get that. I understand why they're having that feeling. But when we're reading it, we need to see it through the lens of the last bit of Ecclesiastes in chapter 12, that the end of the matter, all has been heard. So we've heard all of these jaded thoughts and feelings and views on the world and views on life and views on God. But at the end, what we should do is fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So we're gonna look at all of those things, and in the end, you're gonna see that the meaning of life is to fear God and keep his commandments. That meaning is not found in earthly pursuits, but in pursuing God. Let's see. And just remember that this isn't the kind of book that you can just like randomly pull a verse out and be like, oh, hey, the Bible says blah, 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 because Ecclesiastes should not be read like that. Most of what you read in Ecclesiastes isn't true. You know, it is a jaded, angry, frustrated view of the world as a whole, and we shouldn't pull it out of context. So if you're like, you should never read any verse and pull it out of context. Obviously, that's like why we're studying the Bible, but especially with Ecclesiastes. But yeah, so that's the main thing, is that when we're going through it, we're going to be looking at it through that lens of that. The whole point is that life is meaningless without God, but when we have God, it gives us purpose, it gives us meaning, and we know that there is an end result. There is more, there is life after death, and that we have purpose. It gives life meaning by knowing, obeying, fearing, pursuing God. So that's kind of the point. So that is our little intro to Ecclesiastes. So we're going to be diving in using our daily Grace Co-study. And then we'll also, basically at the end of each week, I will be doing like a deep dive. So like after, like if you want to go ahead and read all of Ecclesiastes, you can, but it looks like our first deep dive into Ecclesiastes, where we'll be studying and writing notes in my journaling Bible together, will be verses chapter 1:1 through chapter 3 verse 22. So if you want to go ahead and prepare yourself and read that part of Ecclesiastes for when we do our first week study together. It'll probably be a while before we get to it though, so just like a heads up. I do have plans for us to do some Advent specific videos during the month of December. So you probably won't see the first week of our Ecclesiastes deep dive and reflection until January. So just giving you just a heads up on that. I do have kind of a plan. I'll give you guys like my plan of what we are going to be doing between now and the new year, so you guys know what's coming. All right, so this is 11/17 where we're going to be doing our November reset. No, this is 11/10. I was like, what day is it? I don't know. And then we're going to be going deeper into our Acts study. So we're going to be finishing up our deep dive into the book of Acts. We still have, let me pull it up for you, because we finished our How to Faith a Life study with Acts a while ago. So we are finishing our notes in Acts. So we are going to be doing 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. So we're just going to be finishing that up. So we probably have about 2 or 3 more parts of Acts still to go. And then I'm going to be going over with you guys my Bible study plan for 2025. And then we're going to do some Advent videos. So we're going to talk about verses from the Old Testament that point to Christ and his birth. And then we're going to read the nativity stories and dive deep into the nativity stories from Matthew, Mark, and Luke leading up to Christmas. We will not have a video the Sunday between Christmas and New Year's. I'm going to take that week off as far as posting videos for you guys, but I will give you guys like a Christmas vlog, and we're also going to have maybe a Christmas decorate with me vlog somewhere in there. It's not going to be the same level of Christmas decorations that I normally do because we're moving, so things are a little bit more minimalized as far as our Christmas decorating goes this year. And then moving into January, we'll be looking at Ecclesiastes and setting up my new Bible study journal for 2025 and looking at what we learned from the book of Acts and flipping through this whole journal because we should be done with this journal by the time we get to January. So those are all the fun things that are to come. So if any of that sounds really interesting to you guys and you love Bible study and you're new here and you'd like to continue to follow along with us as we're studying the Bible, then definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you did like this particular video, if you love setup videos and learning about books of the Bible, definitely hit that like button as well. And I appreciate you guys' patience with me as like I said, I just feel very chaotic and anxious right now. So just pray for me to have a calm spirit, a calm heart, and that I can truly focus on God and just kind of reset both my mind, body, and spirit as I reset for November, that I can just focus on God and, like I said, the point and the purpose of it all as we move into the holiday season. I, for one, absolutely love the Christmas season. I have so many family traditions. I think I might do like a bonus video kind of talking about my family's Christmas traditions, and I'd love for you guys to share with me what your family's traditions are as well. But yeah, so I think I might do like a bonus video for you guys on that. I absolutely love Christmas. I love the Advent season, but I think it's probably because we're moving and I've just had a lot of stressful things going on the last couple of months, so I'm just feeling a bit of the overwhelm. But remember, God has not forgotten you, and we are in this together, so please let me know how I can pray for you in the comment section below. And I appreciate you guys all for being here, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Okay, have a wonderful, blessed week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.